welcome them officially to our club, although they know they're welcome any time and they do come regularly, so we all know them very well. It's a warm welcome this morning, and they're just going to keep telling us and filling us in on their wonderful journey they are doing about cycling and raising money for the water in Africa for the children, toilets and things. So I'm not going to say any more because it's going to be all on the screen. Pete and Sharon, would you like to come up?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, how are we? Okay, two are good. Okay. So Pete and I will tag team. We haven't really practiced this one, so if we elbow each other and say it's your turn, then you get it. So we're not presuming that everybody here understands Beyond Water. So we're going to give a quick overview. You can only talk so much about cycling, but I want to share some great things that are happening so that you know why we do what we do. And your club has been a very big participant of the work of Beyond Water. And so we're just going to briefly look, you know, times are a little bit interesting at the moment, so let's find a reason to celebrate. And one of those reasons is because we now help, we as Beyond Water, our team, you guys, 240,000 people every day get clean drinking water and sanitation facilities. That came from a dream of giving one kid a glass of clean drinking water. So earlier this year, we were able to put in a deep well for Dr. Tonya Hawthorne from Goswami. This was a $45,000 project where we were able to drill 170 metres down to be able to give a community of 30,000 people clean drinking water. Well, actually we thought it was clean. It is clean, but we need to spend another 15 grand putting a reverse osmosis system in. Oh, that was after I face planted in the mud, because it's a very wet situation there. If you're going to come over to the mic, Mr. Crean. And I actually blame him for this.
$10,000 with the camera gear, face planted.
Yeah. Okay, it's kind of
and she
cleaned
blames
off.
me, and I wasn't even there. She
Well,
blamed me because I left the wire at the bottom of the fence. I got told, I said, do you want me to shift this wire to the guy? It's like with him. And he goes, no, should be right. I should have known. Sharon's around, I should have.
Yes, okay, so I wasn't the only one who got dirty. And it's great when you can celebrate reaching water because you don't always. Now this is a hospital that has 37 staff. A woman will walk for hours on end to come and give birth. 170 ladies will turn up with their babies every Tuesday and Thursday for vaccinations, but there's no water in the community. There's 1,000 children across the road who have a school and there's no water at all. So we were able to put in a deeper well and solar panels and pump. This came from some Australian people, go the Aussies. And what you can't see up there, but at the top there's an 18-year-old guy who is wearing his Crocs, who is trying to grab the hand of the guy on the tank stand, which was all created by hand. They had to bring it out about 8 hours away to be able to do that there. And we put solar panels up, and it was very, very cool. Never done a solar panel. Assistant there. We've never done solar panels before because mostly the solar panels grow legs and walk away. But this is really, really cool. We actually called this Jason's Well. And the reason we did that is your club, amongst many things, supports a young girl called Joy, who we'll see on video in a minute. And her parents' names are Ayub and Lensa. And they're Kenyans, they're great people. Ayub runs a school, Lensa is a housekeeper, and they've been doing it tough. And that's why Joy's in the program there. But they're our go-to people, they're our best friends. And the reason we made this a very special event was because they were expecting their 4th baby, and little Jason, he died 2 weeks before his due date. And so we've been walking with them throughout this year. In fact, Joy and her sister were at boarding school and they weren't even told until they came home because there's important exams and the parents did not want them failing their exams and having to repeat a year just through the grief of it all. And so we decided we would call the next project Jason's Well, which is what you see here. And it's not all plain sailing. We had to drill 107 metres, that was cool fun, and then Pete and the guys were putting pipes down and putting up towers and things like that. And I hear this voice yelling,
"It works!"
Which is always good when you spend $45,000 to say that it works. And at that time, I was in the labour ward with one of the Maasai women, and of course I was filming and things like that. And as soon as Pete said that, this little boy was born, and they called him Jason. And the staff are like, film it, film it. I'm trying to hold myself together. We've been walking with this family through grief. It works, which is always good. And they call this little boy Jason. So in April, we will actually take Ailsa and the girls in the school holidays out there. We put a plaque up, and it's always makes me look a bit teary-eyed, and dedicate it. Because this hospital saves the lives of hundreds and hundreds of people. And it's really cool that we can partner with people like that. So that's pretty cool that you guys actually have a personal touch with that. Sorry, I've got a bit of a snotty nose. It's not COVID, it's not really a cold anymore. It's just grandchildren who think breathing their germs on me is their best hobby. And then we did a repeat performance in what's called Corner Baridi. This lady on the right, her name is Agnes. And Pete, come and tell us a little bit about Agnes.
So Agnes is, that's her mum, and there's apparently two mums, and the other lady is her mum too. So don't ask me how that works. So they're 86 and they're collecting water. But Agnes, what she does, she goes out, and Maasai is still illegal, but she hears that kids, girls who don't go to school will get married off early, like age 9. So she goes and rescues them, and then she also wants to rescue them from female mutilation, genital mutilation, which is still illegal, but people still do it because they think it's the right thing to do. And so she puts them back in school, she sells her beaded, she's got lots of ladies, and I've known her to jump on a bus overnight, go and rescue a girl, come back and bring the girl back into a boarding school. And travelling overnight on a bus in New Zealand is pretty safe, right? Not there. Not there, it's dangerous. Lots of people get killed during the night in buses. So she rescues
Not murdered, just the buses crash.
The buses are hopelessly dangerous.
So Agnes, not only does she used to have to walk 6 kilometres for water, but she keeps these girls in school. So we had Drilling for Life come with us again. They're the best company, the only company we will use in Kenya, and they drill, but this was down to 300 metres. Anyone knows African geography, the Great Rift Valley is 3,000 kilometres long, and it's the worst place for what's called fluorosis, which is way too much fluoride in the water, and it can cause brittle bones and takes the enamel off your teeth if you drink that water before the age of 8, which is why at Goswami we need to put in a reverse osmosis system, which our Rotary Club in Hong Kong is coming to the party on a lot of that, so that's pretty cool. Now they have to walk a couple of 100 metres. Agnes heard the drilling company were coming, so she jumped on a bus from Western Kenya where she was rescuing girls, and she jumped on a bus so she could make sure there was a cup of tea and some bread, because that's what we have for breakfast over there, for these guys. None of us would do that, and she goes, okay, and now I'm just shooting off to here to go get this girl into boarding school and this, and she does it through all her beaded jewellery, which normally we'd have a table to stuff to sell, we didn't want to bring it this morning. But of course with no tourists, it didn't really happen. So she's really struggled, but it's so amazing how organisations can come together and change the life of a child. And so we have a large girl project out in that area. Now this is why we're cycling, the school toilets. It's our passion, not going to a toilet, but making sure schools have toilets. In fact, I got a message yesterday from somebody far north Kenya who sent me photos of how a school now, hundreds of kids, is closed down. The education board says you cannot have this school anymore because the toilets literally are crappy, they are falling apart. And so we are very passionate about doing school toilets. So Pete's going to come and share about what we did. These are all projects we've done this year, which keeps us going for when we're sitting on a bike and your butt's hurting, you're rain in your face, you've got these lovely headwinds coming. This is why we do what we do. So we travelled 2 days up to northern Uganda. 2 days in the car was lots of fun, very easy compared to biking. But Pete, come and share about the school and the adventures there.
So there is a lot of adventures. So Peter here is from Kenya, so I took him up to Uganda. He's my builder, we call him a fundi, and I'm trying to train him so that he can do building toilets when I'm over here, he's doing toilets. So we've got a plan and we're slowly working through it. And it's very hard to teach a Kenyan to build it in New Zealand and Australian standard, because they get used to just doing it whatever they like because there's no standard. And I want a standard so that people who donate will make a really good choice. These are the original toilets. So when we went there, it took us a day to buy the material in one shop. We're only in one shop, not 5 shops, one shop. It took a whole day to negotiate and to find the parts. And I forgot to buy a shovel, so I thought, who cares? There must be one in the village here. Went to the village. Got a shovel? No shovel. Who has a shovel? 45 miles back, 45k back to the, what's the place called? Kickdom, there's a shovel. Yeah, that's okay, it's on a dirt road. It was a 2-hour drive to get there, to get the shovel. So I sat there and thought, what else do I need? Because I don't want to do this again. So it was pretty tough. You buy all your material at Kickdom. That's where the war was, and where we were working with the schoolers is forgotten people. Now over COVID, this is really sad. The government shut down the schools for 2 years. The schools are critical not only for education, but that's the hub of the village. And that's where they keep an eye on the kids, make sure the kids are fed. Where Robert, the head guy that built the school, he found 4 students missing. So he went out looking for them. And he said, where are these students? It should be here. And he found out that they actually died of starvation, not COVID. The parents didn't have the money and the means to feed these kids. And that is so sad. And so that school is so important. So those are the toilets that they had. Most of them didn't work, so that's the toilet we built. We still got a lot to do on there. I didn't get the water tank and guttering because up in Uganda it's really expensive. That block of toilets costs $8,000. It's normally would cost me $5,000. But I want to build another block for the girls because there's not enough for the staff and the boys and the girls. So we've still got a lot to do up there.
We do. And this is a school of 400 students. Like Pete said, schools were closed down for 2 years. And we were there in the school holidays. There's actually about 11 kids that live on site at the school, just in a room, because they have no parents. And I talked with some of the staff there and said, what's the story with the kids? And they said parents will just take it because it's very close to the Sudan border. So people will come and go from Sudan. Yes, it's Sudan, I had to check, it wasn't Somalia, Sudan. But also when the crops need planting, they'll just uproot their kids for 3 months. So the kids can look after other little kids. They don't see the value in education, and while the parents go planting or in the harvesting season. So it's changing a mindset that education is the way to go. In this part of northern Uganda, the alcohol is a huge problem. It's very, very cheap. So you saw a guy with a big concrete block there, 10 kilos. 10 kilos each, and they had to move 900 of them. Those guys were either drunk or on drugs. We're not quite sure which one, but they worked okay, because there's always money involved. But I saw kids, there's a concrete wall about this high, just a little rectangular wall, going and squatting, doing their business and going back into class. And it's like, what we are about is improving the health of young people. The longer a kid stays in school, the much better off they will be. So I just want to close on our girl project and then go on to the Pedal Against Poverty. This is our leadership and mentoring project that your club has been heavily involved with. Girls from very poor families will spend 30% of their time out of school because they don't have sanitary products. We've discovered our Maasai girls will use sand in their underwear when they have their monthly period. We've had kids using newspapers, rags, but most of them will prostitute themselves for 50 cents for one sanitary pad. We've had this program going for about 7 years now. We're in 4 locations, including one in Rwanda, because we work in many countries. And we're really cool now at a stage where it's all run by local leaders. We do have key businesswomen coming in and sharing with the kids about career counselling, looking after yourself, advice on their particular vocation and things like that. On the right there, her name is Square Queen Elizabeth. She's the quietest kid in the whole of the program, but she wants to become an engineer. So we've taken her out to some of our projects to get in there with the guys. Now she's quiet, but she doesn't let anybody bully her around, which is really amazing. And we said, why did your mother name you Square Queen Elizabeth? She goes, I don't know, it just must have been something. We never knew to call her Square or Queen or whatever, so we just called her Square Queen. Michelle in the middle there, she came through the girl project. Mum is HIV positive, dad we think died of AIDS, we're not sure because you don't talk about those things. We put her through a tailoring course because we also have computer courses in the holidays. A Rotarian from Canberra donated some laptops, which is really cool. It's kept us going. We try and do post-school connections. Mary, our East Africa director, she's been going with us for nearly 2 years. Absolutely brilliant, transformed us on the ground there, do business connections. But Michelle now sews for us, so some of the goods we normally would sell, Michelle has done, and she set up her own little fashion business. So she go, oh yeah, I made this dress and I've done this sewing for this person. And so what we want them to do is ultimately put themselves through Polytech or university. We wanted to have a service program. We're very big on kids serving. And so they went to an orphanage earlier this year and did a whole lot of washing for that whole orphanage for the week. As you see, the clothesline fell down. But the amazing thing was, these girls live in the Kibera slum. Their parents live on $5 a day. They were very fortunate to be able to go to school, but they went to someone and said, have you got some sugar? Have you got some salt? Have you got some clothes? And they said, we're taking it to these children here. So they went with all this amazing stuff. Not from us, we didn't mandate it. They decided that they would do it. I'm going to skip past this because we have lots to do, but I want to talk about Joy. So Joy, her mum and dad were the ones that lost their little baby, and this is one of the girls that your club supports. I think she's 15 now, I'm not quite sure. We've helped her out a little bit with getting textbooks because that's a big challenge. She gets up at 4 a.m. in the morning, and I go, Joy, what do you get up at 4? You can get up at 5. And she goes, because then at least I can have a warm shower. And she goes to a boarding school, so she only comes home a few times a year. And when she does, she's part of the Girl Project. She still wants to be a fashion designer. And this is a little video of her coming up. It's going to play. The reason she's wearing a hoodie is because she didn't have the money to get braids, because Kenyan hair grows very, very short. Let's see if this will play.
Hello, my name is Joy Lorea and I'm part of the Girl Project. I have recently finished my class 8 and it has been really great staying at home and also helping out in grade 1 pupils and teaching. And I have been well at the moment. I would like to be a fashion designer in the future because I really love fashion and also getting fashion ideas. And we are going to school in July, so we have a long time at home, and it has been really great in doing something because getting bored is so bad. And I'd really like to thank the Girl Project for the support. It has really impacted greatly in my life, and yeah, may God bless you a lot.
She's a great kid. Quiet again, but so every time she goes to boarding school, we pile her up with toilet paper and underwear and sanitary products and things like that. So that's what your club has been involved in. It would be very embarrassing as a teenage girl and not have those basics in life. So we've had a very busy year with school installation of water tanks and guttering and health education programs, and we've got a water filter company, I always get it wrong, Nazava, that now supply us with a water filtration system. So we've got the water tanks, and each class will have a water filter, so clubs can buy a water filter for $100, which include a health education program where the kids learn how to maintain it and clean it and how to make liquid hand soap and things like that. And now, before we show you a crazy video of what it's like to cycle in Kenya, we're going to talk about why we do what we do, which is probably because we're crazy. But we are pedaling throughout New Zealand. Peter, will you do this one?
So this is Sharon's problem. She'd come up with this idea that we should pedal, and I thought she meant both of us, but she meant me, and she drives, so I said to her, no, don't work this way, we're married, but it's equal, you're hopping on the bike too. So we decided that, let's go from Cape Ranga to Wellington, it's not too far. If you say 1600k real fast, it's not too far, but if you go 1600k over 27 days, that's a long time. So in December, if you see me walking like this, you know I've been on the bike. And so we start from Cape Ranga, and then we're going to go on the 9-mile beach. It's going to take 2 days, and then we're just going to make our way down to the Wellington. And the idea is to raise $50,000 to build school toilets. These are some of the guys. The guy in the green jacket.
Sorry, I'm having trouble with the connection. Please try again in a moment.
Okay, thank you very much.
That's called Siri.
That's true. I didn't know you had more.
No.
So the guy in the green jacket the other day said, I went for a practice ride. I went from Cleveland to Miranda Hot Springs. I had to phone my wife because I pedaled 80 k's to come and pick me up or bring me some new clothes. So he wrote back and goes, Pete, that was the hardest ride I ever did coming back. So we're going out there tomorrow. So these are our bikes. I've actually upgraded my bike because my 26-inch bike had a crack in the frame. So somebody bought me a new bike, which was really cool. So this is the timber trial. This is some of women inspired it out, so we know what we're in for. So this is me filming on my camera with one hand.
So it'll be on gravel, it'll be roads, it'll be tracks like this. There's 3 of us that are doing it full time. The rest are part timers, just some for a day. We had a kid at Rutherford School yesterday. So can I join you for a day? I'm like, cool. Talk to your teacher. And so that'll be that. And then you've got crazy Crean here, my man-child. who, yeah. There he goes. My man child. There you go. And then Pete, what happened in Houston?
So when we were at the conference, Sharon took me on the street to watch these 240 bats fly out of the underneath this bridge. It's going to be fantastic. 2 bats. But I was talking to the guy Jeff, and he is now doing People Against Poverty in Texas, and he's doing 160 kilometres in a day with a group of guys. So he's actually trying to build up. And what's the really cool thing is he works for an insurance company, Zurich Insurance Company, and they've actually gone dollar for dollar up to $5,000. So if he can raise $5,000, the insurance company will put $5,000, so that's $10,000. So, and we're going back over in November. We'll do another next year. We'll do a big ride over there because we want to keep building on this. This is a 10-year vision that beyond what is going to have People Against Poverty in New Zealand, Australia, and America. And it's going to be really fun because I'm only 60, you know, I feel like I'm 18.
You're not 60 yet, mate. He acts like he's 16. And well, you know what I love about Rotary? It's not about one person doing it, it's about us doing it together. And so we've got the Pahutakawa Coast, which is our club that we're with, that are hosting our dessert night coming up, which some of you are coming to. We've only got a few tickets left, which I'm really, really pleased with. Some things we've learned from this trip, this whole inaugural cycling venture. Number 1, have cut-off dates. The number of people who've last minute, oh, I think I'll come along. I'm like, okay, so who has to organise things for you? Number 2, don't hold an event 9 days into starting it, Exhibit A, on your day off. But honestly, we thought if we got 50 people along to an event, with the crazy life people have, we'll be really fortunate. We've got 100 people so far. And the cool thing is now the district governor, Alan Smith, he sponsored 10 interactors coming along, so we've got a whole bunch of young people coming along who've already been involved in the work of Beyond Water. We've got the ladies from Probus and Inner Wheel that have donated underwear for our Undercover Angels program coming. And of course you've got a politician come, they're always good. But North Harbour, Jerry Norman, he's organised the iwi to give us the blessing up in Cape Reinga, which is going to be really great. Except we've just discovered that we probably need to start at 4 AM in the morning, so they might give it to us the blessing the night before, which is really important. But Jerry's organised all this bunch of young people to cycle on 99 Mile Beach with us. Which is going to be great, but after probably a couple of K, they're like, I'll flag this and go home, which is probably what we'll feel like too. But it's going to be great. Our goal is to raise $50,000, which is important because then we can build 10 blocks of toilets, and that means our fundi, Peter, not this fundi, but another fundi, can constantly be improving and upskilling and things like that. So that's going to be fantastic. So it's going to be a great night, and our team in Kenya are going to be joining us via Zoom, which hopefully will all work. And it's been great, and your club has been so supportive of the things that you have done. And so we've got other clubs that come in Somerville and North Harbour, some of those guys are coming. And it's going to be a great night of celebrating. But we want to say, for those who obviously can't come, Asante Sana, which means thank you so much over the years for what this club has done. It really has impacted the lives of young people. And I'm just going to quickly, I know we've only got like our time's up, but I've got to show you this crazy video. It's only a couple of minutes of what it's like to cycle in Kenya. And then Alison's going to kick us off. Okay, here we go. Where have you gone? Okay, 1 second. It's decided it's going to be crazy. Yeah, it was there. It's just decided it doesn't want to work anymore. You have to do this thing now. Swipe across. So what happens when you talk in schools? You learn all this stuff. You don't have sound.
The thing, we allowed cows in the city because it's Maasai, and the Maasai people got the land stolen in 1963 when the Kikuus come in. They told the Maasai to get out.
We've lost our sound, but that's okay. Just keep going. We'll just
These are baboons on the left, right? Baboons, yeah. So you have baboons, see? Yeah. So and this is a cycleway. Right? Watch the motorbike. Now watch the car that's parked in there. Look at the car. It's Luna's driver's car. Right?
Just imagine lovely country music playing.
This is Sharon. She got exhausted walking up a hill. This is
chain came off.
This is a nursery, so that's where you buy all your plants and all sorts. Here's an idiot that wants to cut in front of you. Right? And I was trying to beat Sharon. This is funny. I was trying to beat Sharon. I didn't realise it was a drain. So I had a meeting with the cactus. I thought, yeah, that'd be okay. I had to talk to it. And then we had a really close-up, one-on-one session. And Sharon carried on peddling. She didn't care. I could have broken my neck.
No.
You just pull. This is Kenya driving all the time.
Well, you have to have a support vehicle in Kenya, but you don't actually need one here.
Watch this motorbike go through the red light.
Jeez.
And the police officer's right by that yellow van.
Oh well.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so when people say in New Zealand, stay safe, I'm like, you have no idea. That's our time is up. Thank you guys. Come and talk to us more if you have any questions. But we won't be back for about 1.5 years, so this is our final kwahere, which means goodbye. And thanks, guys. We appreciate you all. Appreciate it.
Any questions?
Sharon, you said something about the Rift Valley and you're having to do reverse osmosis to take a chemical out. What was the chemical?
We have to reduce the fluoride and iron, so the iron's making the water at the hospital a bit murky, which is not, it's just a cosmetic thing. But you know, when you're bathing babies and that, you actually want the water being clear, but fluoride is the highest, so it's actually almost double what it should be. Up in another part of the village, they've been consuming that water for generations, but it doesn't make it right. And we also, like I said, we're going to pipe out to the kids across the road, so we're going to make sure that that fluoride level is down. So I'm just negotiating with a few companies. I got a quote yesterday for 30,000 American dollars. We won't be using them. It's usually about $15,000. So we've got a Rotary Club in Hong Kong that we met at convention in Houston this year. They're coming up with half of that, and then Rotary North adding to that, and then Interact clubs from Auckland Boys Grammar and Epsom Girls are going to help out with that one as well.
So you're actually using the filtration to get the chemical out, it's not for any other reason?
Yeah, no, it's just to reduce the fluoride.
Yeah.
So it's really not good when you say you do clean drinking water and actually poisoning people. So it's not good.
And that does 5,000 litres an hour.
So Joy, you might not have noticed because of the lighting, but she actually had quite yellow teeth because the enamel has come off her teeth when she was young, and you cannot get that back on at all. She will have to have cap teeth to do that, and it really does.
How much is
literally
that?
chew. I don't know.
$1,000.
It's about $1,000 to get that done, which for her family is never going to happen. But it does self-esteem, it just lowers it, so she hates smiling. I try to get her to smile, she'll refuse to do it. So.
Do they have politicians over
Oh yes, very well.
Just like it's just like our politicians.
there? Well, you've got no place, quite honestly.
Yeah, we do have. We have we've just had a new president come in. I don't know what country I'm in. President come in, who seems to be a good guy. We'll wait and see on that, but we don't have any hopes of things.
This is the first time in 53 years 2 families are not fighting one another. He's outside the family. So what they did is the 2 families joined together to kick him out so he wouldn't get to become a president, because they know that he is going to destroy all their little bundle of money and corruption that they've done over the years. So he was a deputy president and now he's a president. People actually voted him in. There was no violence. No one got hurt, no fighting, because he belongs to one of the tribes that stood against him. So the Kiku's normally don't back the luau's, backed him, and the luau's also backed him. So it was.
Mary is our East Africa director. As you said, we've got about 4 staff working with us. We've actually got an intern from university who is we pay a whopping $5 a day to do our media as well. But her job is to build relationship within Kenya and across East Africa. We're going to hope to bring her to Melbourne Convention next year, which will be really good for her, but her job is to build those there, and so that means meeting with politicians and things like that. Honestly, they do jack all. Makes New Zealand politicians look awesome, but we don't worry about them. We try to fly under the radar as much as possible.
Who allows you to wander around?
Well, we're a community-based organisation. We're a charitable trust in Kenya, and so we fly under the radar. We do comply with everything. So to get drilling, you've got to have permits. To have water quality, you've got to get it tested and all that kind of thing before people consume it. So we do abide by those. You usually go through a chief of the village. So not the first drill, but the second one there, we have the chief His name is Daniel, and he used to be in the army, and he's a really good guy. He actually gives back to his community, and those are the people that we work with.
And he fights for us behind the scene.
We're white, so that's actually a disadvantage in a community like that, because we're considered rich, and therefore we never have any problems. And when we come back from New Zealand, people always say to us, "Man, you look fat," which is actually a compliment, saying you've put on weight, you must eat healthy food, which hopefully this time it's not going to be like that.
Anu keeps coming to me and goes, "What's on the outside of this country? You always come back shining."
Yeah. So,
And
and
one day I'd
considered
love him to
overweight.
come over here, but he couldn't cope with it because it's just so foreign to him. He'll freak.
Yeah. Any other questions?
This is when we travelled in Kenya and Tanzania in a wildlife park, thousands of people all day. There was one block of toilets for the public to use. There was no running water. It was just disgusting. And our guide said, we said, "What about the government?" He said they don't care. They
That's
just
right.
get. We had to pay a lot of money to go into it, but they don't care.
Yeah, well, you're a tourist. You get ripped off on everything. That's why I say, people come in, let us know. We'll organise
But it was
stuff.
so obvious. It was
So
so
if you know
we- we
anybody
don't-
wanting to come over, contact us because we'll be able to do things that you guys, your travel agents here, have no idea.
Mary,
right?
our East Africa director, went to North Kenya, and we actually want to distribute 1,500 pairs of undies up in that place because kids don't have underwear at all,
Clothes.
or clothes. She goes, they've never seen water in 7 years. She goes, this one school she went to, there was a deep well and there weren't toilets. And that's very, very normal. You've got to remember, 2 billion people in the world don't have access to any form of a toilet. So we've got a long way to go. And that's why we appreciate you guys. Okay, Alistair, I'm going to hand it over to you, or whomever. And thanks, guys, appreciate it.
Thanks, Sharon and Peter. Awesome. I know you've been several times before, of course, and so I did wonder today, is there anything left to thank you for? But how wrong I was. It was great today. I think for me, your wonderful storytelling, you really bring Africa alive. It might as well be on Mars, as far as I'm concerned, outside of that sort of tourism area, and yet. Here with the photos, the videos, the stories, you really do make it real. And so because of that, I just am immensely impressed with your tenacity, with your energy, how you get around all that complexity, you know, the culturally, financially, geographically, all your stories there, and yet you do it and you make an enormous difference. So thank you so much once again for coming in today. A wee token, a pen, so you
Okay,
can
need those.
write more stories. Yes.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much,
Appreciate it.
Sharon.